The worst part about losing your mind isn't the fear, it's the moment you realize you might have been insane all along. I was 32 when I found the newspaper clipping, tucked between the pages of my grandmother's recipe book like a bookmark she'd forgotten to remove. The paper was yellow and brittle, dated September 15, 1987, and the headline made my hands shake so violently I nearly dropped it. Local girl 8 still missing after 3 weeks. The photograph beneath the headline showed a face I knew better than my own reflection. Round cheeks, dark pigtails tied with red ribbons, a gap-toothed smile that had been my constant companion through the loneliest years of my childhood. The caption read, Emma Sinclair was last seen playing in Riverside Park on August 25th. Emma Sinclair. My imaginary friend had a name in the real world, and apparently she'd been missing for 35 years. I'd been cleaning out my grandmother's house after her funeral, sorting through decades of accumulated memories and deciding what to keep, what to donate, what to throw away. Grandma Rose had raised me after my parents died in a car accident when I was 6, and her small Victorian house in Millbrook had been the only stable home I'd ever known. I'd expected to find the usual artifacts of a long life: letters from distant relatives, photographs of people I'd never met, recipes for dishes I'd never learned to make. I hadn't expected to find proof that my childhood delusions might have been something else entirely. Growing up, I'd been the weird kid with the imaginary friend. Not unusual for a grieving 6-year-old, according to the parade of therapists my grandmother had taken me to see. Children who'd experienced trauma often created elaborate fantasy worlds as a coping mechanism. Emma was my brain's way of processing loss, they'd said. A manifestation of my need for control and companionship in a world that had suddenly become unpredictable and dangerous. The thing is, Emma had never felt imaginary to me. She wasn't some vague presence or occasional playmate, she was as real as hunger, as constant as breathing. She lived in the woods behind our house, in a clearing where the sunlight fell in golden patches through the maple leaves. She knew things I didn't know, told me stories I'd never heard, played games with rules I couldn't have invented. She was exactly my age but infinitely wiser, like she'd learned secrets about the world that adults had forgotten to teach me. She showed me which berries were safe to eat, how to find the best hiding spots when thunderstorms rolled in, where the deer came to drink from the creek that ran along the edge of our property. She had a laugh that sounded like wind chimes and a way of disappearing whenever grown-ups came looking for me. Emma's not real, honey, my grandmother would say gently when she'd find me having elaborate conversations with the empty air. I know she feels real to you, but she's just in your imagination. I tried to explain that Emma was different from imagination. When I imagined things, castles, dragons, adventures and faraway lands, I knew I was making them up. But Emma just was. She existed independently of my thoughts, had opinions that surprised me, knowledge that came from somewhere beyond my own limited experience. By the time I was 10, the adults in my life had made it clear that talking about Emma was a problem.